Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely stream deck. For more information about the stream deck, the link is in the description below.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, brothers and sisters. This is the Apex Online Racing iRacing GTE League, season number 9, round number 8, here at Watkins Glen. My name is King-Kodiak and I'll be one of your commentators throughout this evening's race. Joining me in the commentary box, I'm happy to say returning to my side is the one and only James Clay.
Always a pleasure.
And also returning to us is Nick Domino.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure to have you on board, good sir. 42 drivers join us for this evening's race. Let us have a look at who is representing our AM class. We have got the 375 Hyperion car of Jamie Smith. We have the 382 Bear with the Ferrari of Stefan Kamke. The 333 Hyperion Racing Neon Yellow Porsche of Daniel Lindholt. 318 the Hyperion Racing Blood Orange Ferrari of Karen Van Eyck. We have the 396 Diesel Race Team Ferrari of Martin Kodeman. 305 the Raptor Racing Team Red BMW of Daniele Mamano. 380 the Privateer BMW of JJ Parkinson returns to us. Welcome back to you. 302 is the Raptor Racing Team Green BMW of Michael Mariani. 389 the VSR BMW of James Boniface. 391 is the Hyperion Smurfs Racing Porsche of Mikhail Tayman. 372 is the Raptor Racing Team Red BMW of Luca D'Adato. And 390 is the Hyperion Bavarian Racing... I can't actually see what he's in. He's in the Beamer. It's a Yatsy Voracek. So then, gentlemen, Watkins Glen, what do we think about this American classic?
I think you're exactly right there. It is a classic racetrack. It's one that's been around for generations really of racing, seen some great events. It's even seen many Formula 1 Grand Prix, and I think that's a very good reason to be coming here. It's a track that not everyone likes, doesn't suit everybody, but it's still a track that there are people that enjoy it. I certainly enjoy it when I've driven around here in the past, so it should be fun for some of the drivers out there at least.
Yeah, I think it's really a driver's track, this one. You know, it's you have a lot of if you go off, you know, you hit the wall or you hit the grass, and the flow of the track is just so amazing with going up in turn 2, 3 and 4 and that complex, and going down after the bus stop. It's an amazing track to go around.
Yeah, Formula 1 was indeed here back in the 60s and 70s, I think, if I remember my F1 history correctly.
Sort of the era of Hunt and Lauder, I believe.
Well, that's 70s certainly, but yes, Watkins Glen, back in the days when America actually hosted 3 races in a single season. Crazy things like that. But yeah, Watkins Glen is one of these tracks that most people know in some way, shape or form. We had the Formula 3s here, we've had the Formula Renault 3.5s here not too long ago. And particularly turn 1's very deceptive. You can run wide there without incurring an incident point, but you hit that grass and you are skywards. Well, certainly in the Formula cars.
Well, the thing with the Formula cars is it's a very bumpy surface out there, because as you can imagine, it's not actually designed to have racing out there. So you send a Formula car out there onto the bumps, onto the grass, and those they do not appreciate it. But in these sports cars, they're built to survive stuff like that, obviously with tracks such as Sebring and other places like that in mind, tracks that are a bit more heavy wearing on these cars. And so if you do run out wide there, you probably can actually gain a bit of time if you do it right, because you're not going to lose time over the bumps. With Formula cars, when you ran out there, you were actually losing time because your car was just skipping over the bump. Heaps of time on your exit, and it's such a long run up the hill through the S's and down off the back straight, and we also didn't have the bus stop like we do this. So it was just basically one long run, and that exit out of turn 1 was just so crucial, which it still is here, but that bus stop does help break it up a little bit.
Indeed, the front runners didn't have that bus stop part in, as we've clearly seen GTEs do. So Michael Mariani, our current poleman in the AMs, with a 141.071, 2/10 ahead of former AM champion Jamie Smith. Good to see him maintaining a decent pace at the top of the tree. King-Kodiak has jumped back to the pits. He's got a 141.308 on the board. Currently sits third in class with Lindholt. Lindholt now has a time on the board of 41.638, just coming through the boot, turn 7, the toe a little more specifically. As he is screaming on down towards the hill at turn 8. Currently sits fourth, 141.638. I think it's fair to say Daniel Lindholt has had pretty damn disastrous luck in his goings on in this league.
Yeah, it hasn't really been a season for him, that he wanted.
No.
I think he wanted to be more in the sharp end, but I'm not sure that Porsche has really treated him well.
It's not gone well for him, has it? There's a name I didn't see when I was going through them. Number 366, the other there with us Ferrari, it's Merlin Cooper, who slips into fourth, a 41.310. Who else is out there? James Boniface, where is he? Is he in the pits? Yes, he is. That's why I couldn't see him. JJ Parkinson has just crossed the line, a 41.682. We've got a couple more minutes to get some more times on the board before our Pro-Ams start to get fidgety. Now, I've driven, not online racing, but I have driven a few things around this turn. There's a few places that would always catch me out. Now, depending on what I was driving, coming into that, what's referred to as the inner loop, was that bus stop chicane before turn 5. Depending on, whoa, Jamie Smith getting very tail happy coming through turn 8. That would sometimes catch me out. I would not always get the braking zone right, and I would catch one of the apexes, and at those sort of speeds you try and take that bus stop at, if you get the first apex wrong, you're in all kinds of trouble. And the other one that would actually catch me out is turn 7, the toe. That's a really awkward camber on that particular corner, and I would very regularly find myself on the wall.
I think with that area of the tracks, sort of about turn 7, turn 8, the heel and toe, just sort of like they have a very big, but just it's deceptively big because you don't actually think it's that big. But the curb on the inside is one of these ones where if you hit it, the car just doesn't ride them properly. In fact, even turn 9 has one as well. If you touch that curb, your car is just going to be sent bouncing for days, and it's just not going to be sitting happily. But also those corners do have a very nice banking to them. Almost like it's not proper banking, but just the camber and even just the shape of the road is sort of just all meant so that you can take the corners with even more speed. I think that's one thing that makes this track even more fun to drive, is that they even just went, what do drivers like? Oh, they like on-camber stuff. They like banking, make corners faster. And it's just something this track does really well, and it just gives you that extra just joy as you drive around some of the high-speed corners.
Oh, definitely. This is also a track where you sometimes see, incredible stuff, especially in the multi-class racing, because LMP1s will just take you on the outside. They don't care, and you're just like in the GTs, you're just fighting to really keep, the car getting through that corner, and suddenly you just see Porsche and Audi just going on the outside, just la 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 la. It's incredible.
My series was there last week as a P1 driver. I was doing that a lot. Going around the outside of turn 5 was just you would just approach a GTE and they'd be like, I'm going to just take the normal racing line, and you'd be miles behind them, and you would just swoop around their outside, and before they've even got to the exit of the corner, you're gone. And it's just such a fun thing to do.
The Pro-Ams are released. Let's have a look at who we have got. 252, the Team Tepper Varsine BMW of Alfie Lawrenson. 269, the Smallbone Racing BMW of Isaac Morris. 259 is the Privateer Ford of Gerd Sommers. 270 is the Raptor Racing Team Green BMW of Alejandro Portagovi. 293, the Hyperion Racing Ecto 1 Grinning Ford of Chris Yardley. Number 200 is the Team AOR Ford of Sorodov. 227 is the VSR BMW of Jake Sanders. 254 is the Team Tepper Ram Ranch BMW of Craig Dancy. 215 is the Big Bone Racing BMW of Sam Blackwood. 299 the Phoenix Motorsports Ferrari of Paolo Martins. 267 the VC Sim Racing Cyan Ferrari of Philippe Gaillard. 241 the Hyperion Racing Blood Orange Ferrari of Martin Sluman. 267 is the VC Sim Racing Rouge Ferrari of Stefan Moda. 245 is the Raptor Racing Team Orange Ferrari of Stephen Brumfield. 295 is the Hyperion Racing Neon Yellow Ferrari of Rano Luke. Some names are moving up my list because they're coming over the line and starting their laps. 203 is the Venom Motorsport BMW of John Halliwell. 217 is the Big Bone Racing Ferrari of Jack Anderek, who has got a time on. 204 is the Hyperion Racing Ecto 1 Ford of Victor Matios. 232 is the Team Tepper Space Rangers. That's here, he's in the Ferrari of Tom Hooper. And can't remember if I mentioned, I think I mentioned Marvin already. And that is our army of Pro-Am drivers. Any particular names we are looking for in this category?
Anyone at a BMW.
Is this yet again a BMW strong favourite track?
Every track is a BMW
official race. Because if anyone knows the iRacing service, they know there's a D-class series called the BMW 12, which is like a 12-minute race in BMW M8. It's a fixed series. You can only and there's becoming a bit of a running joke that when you're in an ILMS or an IMSA official race, that it's the BMW fixed race, just because they just seem to be at every track.
But for names, I will say John Halliwell, definitely one of the guys to look out for here, and Jamie Smith, not Jake Sanders. Sorry, Jake Sanders. He has been very good this season, and there's definitely somebody to look out for, as Halliwell is putting in the fastest lap.
Nicely done. He was actually being slipstreamed by someone else. He was the lead car. And, Craig Dancy. I don't think it was Craig, but he's got the new pole time. John Halliwell briefly had it. Michael Mariani held on to the AM pole with a 141. What was it? 141.017. Check. Jake Sanders is in fourth, third in class 4 overall. Get that the right way around. With a 41.183.
Another name on my list from the official races that I've seen is Alfie Lawrenson. He's been very quick at officials, but he's quite a far way down the standings. So I don't think he's put in his optimal lap time because he's been doing much faster times than this in practice. And
there he is in the Team Tepper Class in BMW. Isaac Morris, I think. Yep, he's just set a lap time. 41.202. Small Bone Racing BMW. That's still a pretty decent representation from Michael Mariani. He still sits in third. What kind of optimum lap times do we think we're going to expect here?
Just checking the track temperature, actually. Oh, very low. So, could we see? I think we can probably see 39s.
We have a Ferrari that is was stranded on the apex of turn 5. That I don't know who that was. I thought I read the number as 267, but I may not have done because I can't find a 267.
Just as I say about Alfie Lawrenson, he decided to put it 3/10 clear. So thank you for not proving me wrong, Alfie.
Yeah, 3/10 ahead of Craig Dancy, and that's no mean feat. We've seen how quick Craig and John are. That's a cracker. 140.161 for Lawrenson, and he is... I thought we'd lost Craig Dancy for a minute there, but he just lagged. He was giving himself a bit of space. Yeah, that's a belter. Very nicely done. We're not used to seeing gaps that big in the GTE League. And Alfie is coming out again. He'll have time to come out when it's 8 minutes remaining. The Pro-Ams... the pros, get the right words out, will then be released. The Pro-Ams, if they're on a lap, can finish their lap, but they must not. The pros must not get in the way of the Pro-Ams by that point. So Alfie will have time to bung another lap in if he feels he can go quicker still than that impressive 140.1.
Yeah, I'm also happy to see that our guy who went on to Sebring and now has returned to Watkins Glen, the guy with the flag, the most ambitious guy with a flag you will ever see.
The excited flag marshal, yeah.
Yeah. He is back and he's ready to wave that flag.
So keep an eye out for him. Also, the marshal that appears and disappears as I'm using TV1. I'm down.
Yeah, that's the guy. Yeah, that's the guy. That's the guy.
I remember we commented on him before.
Oh yeah.
The only car in this class that hasn't got a time on the board yet is Sarah Dove, as we are watching her come through.
Sanders just crashing into the...
Oh dear. He's hit the pit wall. Oh, yeah, I think he was very hesitant. I think it looked like he kind of changed his mind at the last minute.
Oh yeah.
Sarah Dove, not bad, 141.039. That sounds almost patronising. It's not meant to be, but that puts her in 5th in class.
It's very good, actually, from Sarah and from Gert, because they've done times that that Gert has spun.
And he's been it.
Yeah, but to put it 5th and 6th overall in a car that many... I mean, it's not going to be, like, massively off the pace, but it's not quick around here. The Ford is not, from what I've heard from Ford drivers this week, is it's not a fun car to be driving here.
No.
And so for these two to be currently 5th and 6th overall is a cracker of a job, and I think they can hold their heads high at the moment with what they've performed in qualifying so far.
Oh, definitely. But I would say, the Ford, I think it's more down to that it's just a difficult car to drive. It has such a narrow working window where you just if you get the setup correct on that Ford, it's amazing to drive, but it's just so easy to get it wrong, and that's probably why a lot of guys are not really using it.
I mean, next week the Ford drivers are going to have fun with Road Atlanta, because it's like basically there's another joke running around with the GTE class. The Ford doesn't actually have a Ford track per se. The Road Atlanta is basically the only Ford track, and so they might have fun next week. Will Sarah and Gert? I believe Gert is still a reserve driver, but if he does make it, he'll have fun in his Ford around there.
Oh, definitely. We did see, wasn't last season, but the season before, I think, where Sarah actually got P2 overall in her Ford around there. So I expect a lot from her. And,
no pressure then.
No pressure.
Our pros are coming to the end of their outlap, so let's see who we have got. 168 is the Team Tepper Ford of James Pinsker. 188 is the Conrad Tepper Ferrari of Martin Nedelic. 101, the current champion, is the Radicals Online Sim Auto BMW of Ross Woodford. 185, the Tag Racing UK Ferrari of Andy Gorton. 119 is the Privateer BMW of Blair Mann. 186 is the VEC Sim Racing Magenta Porsche of Sylvian Moraine. 124 is the Team Tepper Ram Ranch BMW of Arjun van Putten. 173, the Venom Motorsports Ferrari of Michael Edens. 109 is the Comrade Gaming BMW of Christoph Hosteen. And finally, the 121 Team Tepper Ford of Rainer Talvar. Are we expecting the usual suspects towards the top end of the field? I guess we have no reason not to suspect that they're going to be there.
Well, I mean, Ross did a 39.6 in the practice session by the looks of things, so if he can get anywhere close to that in this qualifying session, he's sure to be up at the top, and I'm sure people like Andy, Blair and Chris won't be far behind, but then Ross will come fastest lap at the end of the session, puts him half a second clear or something. Hopefully for them, Ross hasn't been home this week because he's a university student, so maybe that'll give them some advantage, but let's just say the chances aren't great.
No, and we did hear Holstein complain last week about Woodford's pace. So it's going to be interesting if he's taken it to himself and actually done something about it this time.
We will see. We will see. I'm not sure who's going to cross the line first.
My local statman, Mr. Pinsker, has wanted me to also tell everyone that it's apparently his 250th start across the Apex Online Racing platform.
Wow.
Across all of the leagues. It's his 250th start today, so yeah, when it comes to stats, he tends to be on top of these sort of things, and he wanted me to mention that one.
That's a veteran, all right. Speaking of the champion, here he comes. And, oh my God, he's done it again. 139.937 straight out of the box for Ross Woodford. Puts him at the top of the tree by 2/10 over Pro-Am poleman Alfie Lawrenson. Where will...
It's not a half second though, is it?
It's not yet. Give it time.
Holstein is going into the last 2 corners.
Holstein. There he is.
He needs some points on the board, and he needs points more than Woodford.
Oh! I thought he was headlining for the wall there.
I think he hit it.
It looked like he did, because he's pulled over before the line. 43.2, so he rolled over the line. But yeah, he's pushing it. He's giving it everything he's got. Blairman is second in class, third overall with a 40.357. Again, highlights how good a lap time that was from Alfie Lawrenson. Andy Gorton in third overall. Third in class, fifth overall with a 45.42. Everybody is still circulating. Anybody is giving up. Sylvian Moraine is just coming over the line. What can he get on the board in the Porsche? He gets... he's in the 41s, so 41.9. Yeah, so that's not going to be particularly representative. What about Rainer Talvar? Got a couple of...
We've got a bit of a slipstream train going on in qualifying behind Rainer at the moment.
Well, it's one of the widest cars to get a slipstream from, so oops, and that's one of the BMWs getting that all wrong and pulling over and getting out of the way. Oh, Ross, don't rub it in. That's cruelty.
He can go faster. He can go faster.
I have
Well, he
no
went
doubt.
faster in practice, so we probably can.
Let's see, what about Rainer Talvar? It's a 140.7. There we go, 140.76. Puts him 8th overall. Everybody doing the usual thing of setting their lap time and then stopping, which you can understand.
Or just doing the Holstein way of just, crashing into the wall and then stopping.
Oh, that. Speaking of, where is he?
He's creeping up to...
He's got one of the VC Porsches ahead of him. I'm assuming that's Sylvian Moraine. Yes, it is. So Holstein yet to get a time on the ball. We only have just over 2 minutes remaining. So still time to get their last laps in.
Do you remember what happened last time Holstein didn't have a time on the board? At Silverstone?
I don't remember this morning, Mr. Domino, let alone...
No. Because I remember it because I was like, and then he's going to get into pole position. And you just commentated, and then he...
Bang!
So he's going to take pole now. I can feel it.
Let's ride on board with Mr. Holstein then. Let's have a hot lap on the nose of the 109 Comrade Gaming BMW as he breaks into turn 1. He's going to wander outside of the track limits. That's fine as long as you don't hit the grass, which he does perfectly avoid. Through 2, into the S's, up the hill, and back over to the left-hand side. Just kisses the apex on the left. That is Sylvian's car that is parked on the left. He is done. He will not have time to improve, and he starts quite a long way down the pack. Screaming on down towards the bus stop. Get this one wrong and you are just off into a world of pain. But no, Holstein gets that one perfectly right, bouncing over the curves as much as he dares. Hugs the apex all the way around turn 5, wanders over as far as he dare on the exit and then into the chute, turn 6, or into the chute that leads into turn 6, I should say. And again, using every available inch of track that he can. Heavy on the brakes, and the tyres didn't quite like that, but he caught it fairly well. Wasn't really that close to the apex. That might cost him, but then again, it might not. And Ross Woodford has shown sympathy. He has not completed that last lap he was on, so he has a heart after all. Oh, turn 8, yeah, keeps that one under control. Now back up the hill for the really awkward turn 9. Apex is really blind. But of course, Holstein handles that one brilliantly well. You can also, your lap can undo itself pretty well here at turn 10. Not for Holstein. Now, this is where he got it wrong before. And you keep away from the wall. That's really close. Is this everything he possibly could put into it? Can he get the top spot? He cannot. It's a 40.1. It's a damn good time. It's second. But 3/10 still separates. That's unreal.
Wasn't cleanest of lap from Holstein. Turn 7 and 8, as you pointed out very rightly, they weren't quite where he'd want to place the car, but I don't know if it was worth 3/10, but I'm sure he might think there might have been a bit of time in that lap still.
Well, Woodford would rather testify that there's still more time to be found, but that's just unreal how much pace the 101 has. But, that's someone rolling very slowly. That is Arjen van Putten, who has pulled over. His day is done. He will start no higher than 8th position overall. Apologies for the coughing. I'm just getting over a bit of a cold that rather decimated my voice last week. But on we go nonetheless. I think that's Mr. Pinsker, the stat man himself ahead. Oh, who's in the Ferrari? That'll be Nedelic. It is Martin Nedelic. Does he improve? Let's see. He does not. What about Mr. Pinsker? Nope, no improvement from him. Or Andy Gorton has jumped up into 5th position. And Blairman did not. He improved in time, but not position. Remains in 4th. That is everybody's qualifying done. Let us see who is where as far as the grid is concerned. So once again, it is Woodford and Holstein on the front row. But look at that, Alfie Lawrenson. Not even 4/10 behind the mighty Woodford. And what's he, 0.04 of a second behind Holstein. What a cracker from Alfie Lawrenson. Then it is Mann, Gorton, Dancy, Pinsker, Putin, Halliwell, Talvar, Edens, Morris, Dove, Zommers, Mariani being our AM poleman in 15th position. Again, great effort there. Moraine, Nedelic, Sanders, Pontegorvi, Smith, Sluman, Van Eyck, Cooper, Brumfield, Boniface, Anderek, Gaillard, Kodeman, Matthias, Martins, Hooper, I'm muddling up names now. Tom Hooper, then Lodato, Blackwood, Voracek, Luke, Linholtz, Parkinson, Kamke, Yardley, Toman, Mamano, Moda. And that is our race grid of 42. Now I can cough. Wow.
Nice to see everyone getting a lap time on the board as well. Sometimes we don't tend to get that, especially at a track where the grass is so close, so it's very easy to get off tracks, especially with people exploring turn 1. So nice to see everyone at least getting some sort of representation on them.
Very, very true. Let's have a look then at our championship standings. AMS being led by Mr. Boniface, then Karen Van Eyck, only 13 points behind. Martin Kodeman, just a further point back. Stefan Kamke, another 10 points back. And then Jamie Smith, only 2 points back. So really, really close at the sharp end of the AM field. Then in Mariani, Cooper, Mr. Domino, who's in the commentary box now, Lodato, and Voracek. I won't keep making that point, I promise. Right, Pro-Ams, again, fairly close up top, a bit more spread further down, with Sanders and Morris leading the way to 17 points apart, then John Halliwell and Jack Anderek, 3 and 4, and then Alfie Lawrenson, our poleman for the class here this evening, and Smith, who's not with us, and Dancy, Zommers, Sluman, and Brumfield. We've had a change of lead at the top of the Pro tree from last week, but only 3 points separates Woodford and Holstein. So Woodford is not going to have it all his own way. He's still going to have to work hard to maintain that lead. And then Bennett, who's not with us. I'm assuming Alex still has no working wheel.
As far as I'm aware, I think Fanatec have his wheel, but I don't think it'll be back before the end of the season.
Well, he needs to follow Phil Reed's example and get himself good on a pad.
Well, that's actually where he started. He was a very prevalent pad driver on the F1 games, but when it came to iRacing, he switched to wheel. But he is well trained in the art of pad.
Then there's Talvar, Mann, Putin, Pinsker, Nedelic, Gorton, and Kean White, who's not with us this evening. We've got a full lap behind the safety car this time. The older tracks are just that way inclined. We go for a full lap behind the safety car, or the pace car, call it as you will. Which we are about to get underway.
Yeah, as we mentioned last week, we have pace car laps for the rest of the season because we're at older American track.
Oh, yes, you did.
That all have pace cars.
I was listening, I promise.
Yeah.
I was listening, I just don't remember these things. That's always my problem.
Yeah.
And we do have the Ford Mustang again.
Which is
Yeah.
true.
Very American, especially
Yeah.
with the WEC going to Lone Star Le Mans at the weekend, and we'll be going to Sebring soon as well, the 12 hours. So, we've got both in the sim and real life, we've got great American racing going on.
Oh, definitely.
Representative.
With Germans on the front.
With a lot of German cars.
Yes.
What has happened to James Pinsker? He's in the pit lane.
Oh no.
Oh dear, oh dear.
Not a way to spend your 250th AOR start.
Oh.
No, and he's out.
He's left.
He's gone. He has had a technical trouble. That is a great, great shame. As,
He hasn't left the session officially, though. iRacing still classes him as he.
He's had some kind of technical issue.
Unless what he's doing is he's just... because when you've missed the start and there's a big pace lap, you can just escape back. So he might reappear.
We will see.
Depends whether he's just watching the pace lap from the spectator.
Well, at the moment, I'm getting nothing for him, and I don't expect to get anything for him for a while. We will keep an eye on how the field progresses as the field travels underneath the blimp, so that camera is absolutely useless.
It tends to be.
It can provide some great shots, the blimp camera, and there are times when it turns into a wildlife documentary, all you can see is trees.
Yeah, definitely. I will say the cameras on iRacing, just the default ones, not the best of jobs. And, they could have used a bit more time in some of those, to be fair.
Some of them are pretty good. Some of them, yeah, less so. But there are other games out there that shall we say, do it worse. That I've had to use for commentary purposes.
One set of cameras I found very, very nice was someone had sort of recreated the entirety of the broadcast cameras from like the Le Mans broadcast.
Nice.
So so they had the entirety of just like Le Mans, but using the official broadcast camera spots. Basically, you got the real shots from the race. I thought it was clearly someone who was very dedicated and had spent a lot of time customizing.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. I tell you, some cameras I've seen in real life, but I have yet to see in sim racing well done. Like drone cameras. I've seen a drone camera basically chasing a drifting Corvette. It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And everyone commenting on the video was commenting on the drone camera skills. Nothing to do with the poor guy that was doing his best drifting a Corvette. Everyone's saying, like, this drone pilot is god level. That's something we hopefully will see. But then I can just see, car retired because run over drone. As it's fallen out of the sky. Right, never mind that. The pace car is pulled in. Here we go. We are racing here at Watkins Glen as the field scream past the really excited flagman as Neil, now giving you a completely different name. James Pinsker has reappeared and he will be starting from the pit lane. Not an ideal start to his race this evening. Here we go then, up and through the S's for the first time in anger. A few position changes, but it doesn't look like anyone's had any major incidents. Last time I said that, as soon as the words left my mouth, I then found someone stationary. It looks like everybody is actually moving, including, I'm glad to say, James Pinsker. He is some 5 seconds off the back of the field. I'm sure he will gain that before long. Now coming through the bus stop into through turn 5. Looks like everybody has made it through. Any major incidents you gentlemen have seen?
No, I've just been trying to keep up with the lead battle because Alfie Lawrenson looked a bit feisty as he was trying to get past Holstein in turn 1. He had the inside line, but Holstein just used that extra runoff just to get around him and keep the position, and had the slip Woodford to stay ahead before the bus stop.
The only thing is that Marvin were off in the bus stop, but just no big drama, just position 2, and he's back. No damage done.
He's side by side with James Boniface coming through turn 7 as well, as Ross is trying to stretch away and run off into the distance, but Holstein doing his best to not allow that. Oh, we've got Sluman falling a few positions. Oh, well, 3 wide coming into turn 8. That doesn't tend to go well. Marvin is. I wonder if he had a slowdown that he's still trying to undo because he's losing positions, but his car looks undamaged. Is that what he's done?
He looks like he got a slowdown back when he came off the bus stop. Okay. And then he's gone through turn 5, turn 6, turn 7. He had to slow down out of turn 7. And by the time he gets to turn 8, it looks like it might have just cleared.
Wow. So
that's the terribleness of the lap 1 slowdown. I know terribleness isn't a word, but we have to.
It is now. Copyright James Clay. it's now a word. Oh, Blair Man looks like he's decided to go a move on Alfie Lawson. No. He's opted to stay behind. He's not going to go for the big move. You can do a move on the inside of the bus stop, and you have really got to commit and trust the person you're passing. There is not a lot of room down there. Alfie Lawrenson leads the Pro-Ams by, let's have a look, about 2.5 over Craig Dancy. There he is in second position. The third is John Halliwell, who is right behind. Lead of the AMs is Michael Mariani still. He's gained a couple of positions since the start. Oh, trouble! We've got trouble. It is Sarah Dove, I think, has suddenly lost a lot of positions. What's gone on with Sarah? Whoa! Sideways coming through turn 6. Doesn't look like there was any impact, but that's going to drop her a long way down the field. And amazingly, yeah, very well held. Usually by this point, we've seen, we've got a few people with damaged cars and 4 incident points and what have you. We've got a grand total of 4 incident points across the entire field. Very well played, everybody.
Good job, everybody. Sarah did a good job to hold it there, but this is why we've said that the Ford isn't the most well-loved car at this track, is because it's one of those cars that, as Nick pointed out, is very hard to drive, and it's one of the reasons because it can get very loose like that if you don't treat it with enough care. And unfortunately, Sarah just lost it a little bit going into turn 6, but she did hold it. I had an instant like that. I don't know whether it was in the AOR race in the Formula Renaults at that very corner, and again, almost went very wrong. And I have to say, the amount of excrement that is probably thinking about coming out at that point is not very fun.
New pen situation?
Yeah, pretty much.
Code Brown Isle one, yeah, absolutely.
The barriers at this track are just so close. Like you can just see, like if you go a little bit off past the grass, you are into a wall, and those things hurt.
Keeping an eye on James Pinsker as well. He's up to 38, so he's obviously caught the tail end of the field, trying to work his way past. Wow, he has gone that side-by-side method I was talking about into the bus stop chicane. And there's still a side-by-side going on a few guys ahead of him. That is Rano Luke and Jerzy Voracek fighting over 33rd position.
These guys have been side by side from turn 1 and has just been fighting for the last couple of laps and just swap places. So Luke is going very wide, and let's see, Voracek is gonna. No, he's gonna just slide it back in behind. Oh, he wants past.
He does. He's wanting to get on with it. Holstein means business. He is right on the tail of Woodford, and he has dropped Alfie Lawrenson by 0.8 of a second now. The Blair Man looks happy to just sit there for the time being, but 2 and a bit seconds behind them is Andy Gorton with an almighty great train. Well, most of the field, indeed, behind him. That's Craig Dancy, second in the Pro-Ams, and then John Halliwell, third in the Pro-Ams. That's directly behind him. He's just trying to kind of get on with it.
This is why you don't drive anything other than the BMW, Andy. Silly man. Why aren't you in the German? Well, just so big, isn't it? You're just kind of lost for words and ways to describe it. It's just so massive. But yeah, we're starting to see that we've got a train of BMWs up front, and then we've got a train of BMW hounding Audi.
Merlin Cooper is in a really awkward position. Oh, now that could have gone horribly wrong. That was very alert by James Boniface there. He was trying to let Sam Blackwood through in the orange BMW ahead. That's the Big Bone Racing BMW. As he's hit the brakes, he's almost slammed into, James Boniface has nearly slammed into the tail of the Bear with his Ferrari. So that was very alert from Boniface there, but I'm keeping a very firm eye. Well, I'm trying to keep an eye everywhere, and so far it's made easier for me because everyone's behaving themselves. But Holstein is right on it, and there's now over a second gap between Holstein and Lawrenson. Do you think Blair is just happy to sit there, or surely he's going to want to pass Alfie if he's going to see that gap continue to increase?
I don't think he can pass Alfie, if I'm honest. Alfie's actually starting to drop him as well. Like, I know it's not as big as a gap between Holstein and Lawrenson as it is between Lawrenson and Mann, but there is a gap. And so, and especially as they go through all the twists and turns, Alfie sort of pulls a gap and then Blair pulls back with the slipstream. But I think if they were on their own, Alfie would pull away from Blair. But I think it's the slipstream that's keeping him intact. As I say, Blair has made a mistake in turn 1.
He went into second county there. All the way up.
What's he done here?
But,
he's just gone too deep. Oh, yeah, that's over the grass. Yeah, that's a 4. That's 4 instant points straight away for him. And we've got a few more that have cropped up since then. Ross has actually got 2 on the board, so he's been off the road somewhere.
But he's also very much under pressure, and this is where, you know, Woodford has been very dominating in the last 2 seasons, but one particular place where we have seen some cracks in the armor has been his strategies. He has been out-strategized a couple of times when he has been under pressure and stuff like that. So Holstein just really want to be here. He's not really a guy that, you know, Woodford doesn't really make that many mistakes. But I think Holstein can definitely take him in the strategy game. That is where I will say that Holstein might be stronger of the two, to be honest.
On the nose of James Binsker. Oh, and that's Marvin Sluman that has got turn 6 wrong. So James has taken that opportunity, flown through on the inside before they get through to turn 7. But this is really what drivers that are, particularly those out of position, have got to deal with. You've got a mixture of AMs, Pro-Ams and Pros. They're not in their kind of set divisions. They never are in the GTE field. So James is doing a brilliant job now, up to 35th position from starting from the pit lane, 5 seconds behind the field. It'll be interesting to figure out why that happened, because he had a decent qualifying. Hopefully we'll get a chance to chat to him.
I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. I don't know. Maybe, I mean, one thought it could be is that he didn't put any fuel in his setup, and so he was done his qualifying setup in the fuel, and then had to escape last minute to put some fuel in the car. At which point the pace car lap had started. I mean, that's a very odd situation, but at the moment that's the only situation I can theorise it would be.
I would say it could also be a tactical win situation. You know, if nature's calling, just at the you know, and he hasn't gone, you know, back to press the button at the right time.
Yeah,
that might also be a thing.
That sounds like the voice of experience. Have you been caught out by the tactical wheel before, Mr. Domino?
No. But I do, when I do the endurance races, we do have a term that is, you know, tactical wheel, which is like, you know, before a driver goes into the car, it's like, remember to take a tactical wheel before you sit in, because you are in for the next 2 to 3 hours.
Very true.
Yeah.
I mean, I have known someone do exactly what you were alerting to, James. Where they've not changed setup. They've not gone from the qualifying to the race setup. I've seen that in an endurance race here at AOR. As Pontecorvi and Broomfield have swapped round for 17th position, along with Goyard and Lodato at exactly the same point, which is turn 8. Whoops! No, that's not going to work for you, Lodato. Ooh, that's going to be 3 wide coming into turn 10. Someone's going to have to blink. Yeah, and that's Goyard has gotten ahead of them as Tom Hooper's come through. Yeah, I've seen someone make that same mistake. Oh no, never mind. Problem. I'll tell the story in a minute. It's Arjen van Puten's gone straight off the road. He didn't even turn. He's had some kind of technical problem. I bet you anything that is a VR failure. That looked very...
He is not a VR user.
Oh.
That could be a wheel failure or something.
Yep, so as he's tried to turn, nothing's happened. He's then hit the brakes too late.
He actually disappears, so I think he's probably had some other technical issue, because he disappears and then just appears in the wall. So I think something...
no, he didn't for me. He went...
Oh, okay,
he
that's
drove
weird.
into the wall, so...
Disappeared then. But, yeah, something's definitely gone awry there.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a huge group which could end in massive tears with Movie, Dov and Van Eyck.
Yeah, and Anderek and Blackwood. Yep, I'm looking at exactly the same pack. They are really, really close. If someone sneezes, that's going to go horribly wrong.
Oh, definitely. I just saw, at the penultimate corner last time, Sarah was so close to Jamie, she could almost have a conversation with him. It was unbelievable how they didn't touch. I don't know.
Anyway, the story I was trying to say was I have known someone try and do 2.5 hours or 2.4 hours of, I believe it was Daytona. It was one of the oval tracks.
Oh, we've got sorry, there's a huge crash in turn 8 as Hooper's just been tanked round and then has been just hit by Victor Mathios with pretty much nowhere to go.
Ouch. So every time I try and say this story, somebody then has a moment. Oh, there's another problem, Van Eyck. Oh, I've seen this big pack. What's gone on here? Oh, Cohen understeered, sent the BMW off, and Cohen's gone into the wall. And he's just got to sit there and wait for the entire field to pass him. Tom Hooper is limping. That's a hot... The car will not go straight, so that's the end of his race. I think I'll spare the rest of the field and not try and say the rest of my story, because everyone seems to be making a... Yeah, there seems to be an issue every time I try and say it.
No, come with it.
Oh, it's not really that exciting a story either. It was I won't say their name, but it was a veteran of the endurance racing made one
Hendricks.
simple. I can neither confirm nor deny. He forgot to switch. I think he was trying to sort other people out. He was trying to answer someone else's question and forgot to switch from his qualifying setup to the race setup, which meant his air intakes were blocked off, and it didn't take long for his engine to go boom.
Well, since James wanted me to point at his 250th start stat, I will pay him back now with because we were using this story to obviously talk about why James started from the pit lane. Well, James has also run out of fuel by forgetting to pit in an endurance race before.
Oh no!
It was as he was sort of a stand-in driver as we were fighting for a championship, and we were going into a very crucial round, and he may or may not have forgotten to drive the car into the pit lane. So I don't hold a grudge at all for that one.
And how many times have you reminded him of this incident?
Oh yeah, he's reminded me of the time I forgot to pit for fuel, but we'll ignore that. And I've always reminded him of this one.
Well, we normally take that onto management era. We have a guy in PCDC who is like, all he's doing is strategy. When we're doing, we have Sanders is off.
He has, and he's taken Nadali with him. Oh my goodness me, into the S's. What has happened here? So there's Martin Nadali. Oh wow, Anderek went miles onto the grass, has gone sideways, caught the VC Porsche and sent. Yeah, that's. Oh, people have stopped in the middle of the S's. So that was Sylvie Moraine in the Porsche. That's been sent for a bit of a spin.
We had a very similar incident in the Formula 103.5 League. On the opening lap, we had Paul Ilbrink got it out of turn 1. And then, miraculously, I believe everybody managed to avoid him in that situation, which I think we were all very shocked at. But not the case today, unfortunately.
No, well, these things are rather a bit bigger than the Formula 1.
Especially that BMW, and a lot less manoeuvrable.
Yeah,
the big boy. It's actually it is big, but I think we measured it. It's actually I think it was 1 or 2 centimeters wider than the Porsche.
It makes all the difference.
I mean, it's also the lightest car.
It is.
It's the BMW.
Yeah, it's the lightest. Yeah.
I don't like. It's. You would think it's like. You think it must be the largest volume of the car.
Yeah,
it's absolutely massive, but it's also the lightest, and it's just mind-boggling.
He was an oxymoron, everybody. They really like massive, great big BMW. Oh, got some shuffling going on. I think someone's been caught out there.
We have...
That's Martin. Martin Kodeman is in the pits. I was going to say really early, but we had this last week, didn't we? At Sebring, where someone pitted very, very early, and it was perfectly timed.
Yeah.
And I've completely forgotten who it was.
Oh, that was one of the Team Tepper guys. It was a Porsche.
That would be...
Who?
Can't remember who it was that pitted early.
If it was a Team Tepper Porsche, there is only one, and that is Alex Schmidt.
It was Mr. Schmidt.
Oh yes, because he is a man who
Oh, Daniel Lindholm! Whoa, trouble at the exit of turn 5. Ooh, wow, I'm going to look at that again because that was a very weird... That's Pinsker, I think, coming past him. So ooh, James is really committed to that. I think there's a bit of netcode going on there that's made that incident worse. Once again, Daniel Lindholt he just cannot get the only break he seems to get is his car braking. Once again, not his fault.
I mean, what's happened there is that James has kind of gone, okay, I'm not really far alongside enough, I'll bail out. And then what's happened is Lindholt's gone a bit deep and he's gone, and now you're in the awkward situation for a driver of, do I pull out even more? Just check behind him now, he was fine for space behind. But you kind of just go, do I pull out even more, or is it more safe if I actually just go around him now? So James chose to go around him, which didn't quite pay off.
I mean, it's easy enough for us to say when, in the commentary box, in the heat of the moment, we've all done it. I know I have. You make the decision in the heat of the moment, and either you instantly regret it, or you look back at it and think, why the hell did I do that?
I mean, it just... James, I know, is sometimes quite a nice guy when it comes to incidents, and I don't think he'll be very happy with himself on that one. So, he'll be not great that he's had to bump someone out of the way and get past.
Well, nobody in this league is going to hit anybody.
You just have to move on, don't you? Sometimes.
Yeah, it's just accidents happen, and sometimes it's just like, well, that just happened.
Especially when you commit yourself to a multi-class race, you kind of have to just... Sometimes these things do happen when you have someone like James who's for some reason starting at the back of the field, having to charge his way through. Sometimes these things do happen, but I don't know whether it'll be taken to the stewards. They have all the right to, but we'll have to see what comes of it.
Yeah. We did comment, didn't we, quite a few times that the stewards were going to be busy after last week.
Yeah, we have said that.
Were they busy after last week?
No.
Nope.
From the looks of things, no. We have a lock-up into turn 8.
Is James Boniface, but he's recovered, I think.
It was a bit of a scary moment as everyone's trying to avoid him.
It was either Boniface or Lodato.
Ferrari.
Oh, that must be...
Ferrari of Paolo Martins got very sideways, and Boniface once again has had to basically...
Oh! What on earth happened there? Let's look at Lodato.
Hit the outside of the curb and just, send it spearing.
Onto the grass and round he went. Oh, I think he caught someone else there as well. Jerzy Voracek is in the pits. That's probably planned. Oh my, it's all kicking off again, isn't it?
It is a very difficult track. As much as it is a driver track and a fun track, it still does punish you.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, heat of the moment and the heat of battle. You just put a wheel tiny bit wrong, as we've just seen, and the results can be very, very costly. This pack here with Martins, now James Pinsker, Boniface, Gaillard and Sluman, they have been scrapping for a while, and James is now up to 21st position with some unusual manoeuvres going on, you could argue, but another
somebody went off.
Oh, it's Gaillard. It's Philippe Gaillard. I think he's overcooked it. He got a bit... Yeah, he got loose coming into turn 6. He's still loose.
Sarah's hitting...
Oh, Rano Luke has had a problem at exactly the same point. What's gone on here? Oh, yeah. Sarah does ploughed into the back of Rano Luke, and I think someone else, Yardley. Yeah, Chris Yardley was involved in that. Oh, no, was it Chris Yardley that... Oh, it might have been Chris Yardley that ploughed into the back of...
Oh, yeah.
It was Chris Yardley. Oh. I've done that before. Yeah, I think Chris was not anticipating the braking when it happened, and that was the wrong button. Oh dear. Still incidents going on. I do my best to keep up with everybody, but... Wow, look at the lead pair. Whitford and Holstein now 4 seconds clear near enough of Alfie Lawrenson. And not taking that away from Alfie, because he's doing a cracking job maintaining that third position. Blair Mann, once again, he's in a position to keep the pressure on, but not really in a position where you could say he's being held up.
No, that's what I was sort of...
That's what you were
alluding to earlier, and he has sort of proved it, is that, just that Alfie's very much holding his own up in the overall third position. But yeah, I was going to sort of bring our attention back to this league battle. It is staying 4/10, and Ross is someone who, excuse me, Ross is someone over the AOR iRacing platform who has, not really even under pressure, just had quite a few mistakes over both this and especially the F3 car. There'll be situations where Ross was quite far in the lead or in a good position, and then you would just come across him spun at the side of the racetrack or something. And so he's been very good at qualifying, and he's had the pace. But again, also at Le Mans, and even at Sebring last week, he's just had those mistakes late race that have just crept in over his career. And I think that's the sort of thing he needs to sort of get out of his system. Last season he was very good and didn't really have, I don't think, many of those off the top of my head, if any, and put together a championship campaign and obviously won the championship. But he just needs to make sure he doesn't do that again this season. But like I said, he did it in Le Mans, and that cost him a lot of points.
Indeed so. But for the time being, Ross is not able to shake. Is either not able to or hasn't tried to shake Holstein. I suspect he's not able to. As Holstein doing a cracking job hanging on to the back of the champion. As Blackwood and Smith have swapped round along with Michael Edens. And Am leader in 12th. He's just been put down to 12th. Michael Mariani is way in the lead of the AMs. Jamie Smith is second. 13 seconds down the road in the AM class. Very, very nicely done. And Alfie Lawrenson, talking about his AM class lead, leads the pack by 8 seconds over Craig Dancy. But Craig has had a lot of people right with him. Who's this? Oh, that's Stefan Kamke, Stefan Kamke and Daniele Mamano. Side by side coming through the bus stop. Mamano backed out of that one. Nicely done. Good manoeuvre for those two. Ooh.
After Woodford in Sebring last week with his massive win, would we have been thinking that the pro lead battle was covered by 6:10, and then the pro-am and am battles were covered by 8 and 14 seconds respectively? I don't think we would have lost.
No, not at all.
No, definitely not.
But then, I was saying, we had at one point in the race early on where we only had 3 or 4 incident points over the entire field, and now we've lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 drivers. So
yeah, I call that the commentator's curse.
Yeah, I'll take that one.
From you.
I'll be marched out of AOR by the end of the week.
So if you go on and have to submit a report,
trouble! We have got trouble. Sorry, Nick. Boniface and Marvin Sluman. Oh my goodness me! I think Boniface was coming into the pits, and Sluman wasn't anticipating it. They've had a big spin at the pit lane entrance. Oh, and they've hit each other trying to recover. They've made it back into the pits, but with a lot more damage than they started with.
This is one thing I was concerned about pre-race, was how many drivers were going to actually stick to the sort of pit entry. If you're coming into the pit sort of merging line, and that's very clear there that perhaps just wasn't thought out as much, because before the final corner there is on the right hand side, well, in the middle of the track, there is a yellow line, which is, because we're in America, there are yellow lines, but it makes it a little bit harder to see, I guess, as well, especially when you're so high up in the GT cars. So perhaps they just didn't quite notice it. But it's one of those things that we need to hope that a lot of our drivers, because we're seeing so many battles on track, a lot of trains, that a lot of our drivers stick to that line just to try and stay a bit more safer.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, as I want to point out, if you're going to make a steward's inquiry, remember to tag King as you
Yeah.
and I can also see that Alex Van Booten, his game froze.
He did
seconds.
indeed.
Yes.
Yeah, he put that in chat a while ago. It's never good to see. He cannoned off the road. So look at where the battles are. So we still have this lead battle as we have had.
Getting closer.
Yeah, he gained a whole 24 thousandths of a second on Woodford last time around, and that gap has just not been growing whatsoever. Alfie Lawrenson and Blairman still, well, you can't really call it a battle, because Blairman closes it in a little bit and then Alfie does manage to pull away, but I wouldn't be surprised if at some point Alfie just lets Blair go, but then Blair hasn't really shown any If Blair was just all over the diffuser of Alfie Lawrenson, I would expect Alfie to let him go and for him to to slipstream off the back of Blair. But again, I mean, no disrespect to Blair Mann, because that pace has still been damn fast and really not that far off the back of leader's pace. So it's not like he's being held up at all. It's just Alfie's doing an absolutely cracking job, as we keep highlighting, admittedly.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw him in officials, he was doing very quick pace, and I thought, you know, he might, you know, win Pro-Am or something, or at least challenge for it. But I was not expecting him to be up and fighting for the overall podium. Because I mean, he was quick, but you know, he's a Pro-Am driver, so you know, you always have that in the back of your mind. He's probably not expected to be fighting for the overall podium, but here he is. Fighting off Blair Mann. Blair Mann does have the slipstream now and is quite on his tail, so he might start to think about making a move since we're so close to the pit stop. But yeah, no, it's a very good drive from Alfie at the moment.
Mikael Toman has actually returned to the track. He's been out of the race for 13.5 minutes. He is 8 laps down, but has returned and is going to continue his race. Fair play.
What a champion.
Yeah, but fair play. You never know. I mean, the amount of incidents we've had thus far, there really is no telling what's going to be going on. Incident limit-wise, that's something else I tend to try and keep an eye on. Vast majority of people are absolutely fine. The only people in double figures are Paolo Martins. We've seen him sideways a couple of times. The other one's actually James Boniface. Now, again, he's been involved in 1 or 2 incidents. He's been through the pits. He was in the pits for over a minute. About a couple of laps ago. Oh, Jamie Smith and Pinsker have swapped round. I think Jamie let James through. It's another position James has gained. And James, I would think, is only a few tenths off of leader's pace, which is exactly what you imagine. Once again, Holstein still a little bit quicker than Ross. Do you think if Chris was the lead BMW, he'd be able to edge away from Ross?
I think they're very evenly matched, and it's clearly the slipstream that's keeping them together, and I have no other opinion on it.
Get off the fence. I
don't want to have to make an opinion.
Get off the fence.
But no, honestly, these are arguably the 2 top drivers in the league, so you would expect them to be evenly matched, and it would basically just be down to a slipstream effect that is keeping them close together. And so maybe one is slightly faster than the other, but it's just at a point where, because they're so close and the slipstream effect is so big, that is the overarching factor to why one looks faster than the other.
And you've got to think they've been glued to each other really close for the whole race, and we are on lap 17 now, and we've seen people go sideways and all sorts, as Jack Anderek has brought his car into the pits. What has gone on with Stefan Kamke? He's had a problem. So we're seeing people having problems on their own. I caught the apex at turn 9. I've done that one myself. He's bounced off the wall, and he will not enjoy that pit stop as a result. But these two, you know, Holstein and Woodford have been so close for so long, and also Alfie Lawrenson and Blair Mann. They've been so close for so long. Blair does have 8 incident points, amazingly, so he's obviously had to really fight to stay there. So he's wandered off track a few times, so maybe he's nudged into Alfie at some point. But Holstein has 0. And Woodford only has 2, in fairness. So, wow. That's absolutely amazing stuff from our front runners.
But these guys also, if Woodford is going to win the championship this season, he will join Holstein in being the only 2 drivers who has multiple championships in this league. Holstein is actually the only 2-time champion, and Woodford, you know, is the defending champion. So these guys are really, you know, the top of the field.
And Holstein did that on the bounce, didn't he? He did them back to back.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
Oh, I think he did. Holstein's within 2 tenths. Oh, is he going to have a go? Is Holstein going to finally get him? Yes! Absolutely. Now, either Ross had a terrible run up the hill, or Ross has decided to let him go, as we have finally had a lead change. I'm going to watch the manoeuvre to see whether Ross let him go.
It was definitely a lift off.
He must have.
They pulled alongside, and Ross was just let him go. Yeah. He wants the slipstream now. He wants the fuel save, which is a bit weird because we're going very close to the pit stop. So I wouldn't have thought, unless he's very marginal on whether he can go an extra lap or not. and he might have been just like, okay, I can sit in the slipstream here. But if not, and Holstein has a lap on him from fuel saving behind him for so long, then this could be very much an advantage Holstein.
Could be.
It might also just be that that Woodford is, you know, if you're in the front and getting, you know, pushed that much, sometimes it really takes it out on you.
Yeah.
It's so much easier to be the guy who just needs to follow and is behind.
Well, I mean, is it that much easier? I mean, I've never led,
Yeah.
so I don't know. Not strictly true. I have won a league race a long time ago. It was a default league in Project Cars 1. Tells you how
They're
long
both
ago it
pitting.
was.
They're both pitting.
They are indeed both pitting. So this would be an indication of fuel as well, because you would expect them to fuel up the same kind of amount, would you not?
But if Holstein has, say, 0.9 of a lap and Ross has 0.1 of a lap, then Holstein's pit stop will still be shorter because he has less to go to get to full tank. So Holstein might still have a bit of an advantage. We'll have to see on the pit stop time.
Oh, Ross didn't get his marks.
Get box.
He was a bit shuffled.
Slight cracks.
Yeah, and you can see there's a lot of people in the pits now. Hell of a lot of people can't see from that camera angle, nor that one. Blimp? Nope. None of them are any good. No.
Nope.
And there goes Holstein. He's gained. I'd say he's gained quite a few. Well, he's gained a hell of a lot of tenths over Ross. Ross was that one mistake has cost him dearly. Here comes Sarah Dove. Is she going to slot him behind? Yeah, she's not interested in getting involved in that. 2 seconds. 2.2
is she
seconds.
going to go for it down here? Because, you know, she has the speed out of turn 1.
But she is also in a Ford, let's not forget, which is
But she
not
is
the best well-equipped in the straight.
She backed out of that. She was actually gaining on Ross, but it would have been such a dangerous move. And again, not any real point on making the most of Sarah. Quite wisely backs out of that. Rainer Talvar now leads the way. Of course, he hasn't pitted yet. And Gert Solness is now leading the way. He's taken over the Pro-Am lead due to the pit stops. So, from the BMW Fest we've had, we're now being led by 2 Fords.
Well, yeah, a lot of Fords staying out. We've seen that a lot this season.
True.
Fords
Yeah,
are
they
very
can
fuel
do-
efficient and
yeah,
can
they-
quite often go the extra lap compared to everybody else.
Yeah.
Which is a big advantage because you can get that low fuel, and Fords have low tyre wear, so you get a low fuel, low tyre, with not much tyre wear, very fast in lap, which just sometimes helps you overcut maybe 1 or 2 people in front of you, which is sometimes a nice to have, even if the car isn't often well suited to the track. Like we've been saying, this with a lot of drivers not happy. But next week it could prove a deadly combination, having the overcut and the Ford advantage.
Well, the 2 leading Fords have come in.
Yeah, I just wanna point out that Andy Gordon has had a pit stop that is only 11.2 seconds and has actually passed both Blaman and Elville Lawrenson.
We've seen a lot from Andy this season. He's done a lot of short fills in the mid stop, and obviously done a longer fill at the end.
Yeah. And sometimes it's just to get, you know, into a different place on the grid, you know, and maybe get into some free air where you can just do a couple of very fast laps and then do the long run at the end.
I mean, Andy's now basically gone from the situation of leading Dancy to now leading Lawrenson. So
Yeah.
he's just got a different type of BMW in front behind him.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe just didn't like one, decided to switch it from.
I said, you know, it could be. I didn't say it was perfect. Sarah's coming out of the pits and immediately on the foot by Jake Angers.
Who was that, sorry?
Sarah came out of the pits and is immediately on the
Oh, yeah, now being absolutely swamped by Jack Anderak
foot. Yeah.
and Alejandro Portacorvi. Ooh, that gets so close. But they have survived. Oh, Paolo's now on 14 incident points. He's going to have to be careful. It's another, well, still got half the race to do yet. And he's well over halfway in the incident count. And James Boniface as well. He's well over halfway. He's on 15 incident points. No one else is anywhere close to double figures, actually. We have a couple of 9s. Marvin Sleeman and Rano Luke are on 9 incident points, but that is about it. Oh, just, I've been talking about it. James Boniface now on 16 incident points. So you need to be careful how he proceeds. But now that we've settled back into back into the session. Holstein leads Mr. Woodford by 2.1 seconds at this point. And Ross was a couple of tenths quicker on the last lap, but just goes to show how costly that mistake in the pit lane was. Oh, is something going to happen here? Lawrence and Gorton? I would think Lawrence is just going to sit there. That's probably the last thing Blair Man needed, was Alfie Lawrenson getting a toe off of someone.
Yeah, I was just looking at. Does anyone have the pit stop times of Craig Dancy? Because he's dropped back massively from where he was.
Craig?
He was P3 in the P2 even in the Pro-Am category, and is now third.
Yeah.
Same as everyone else. He was
19.2.
19. Yeah.
I will see if I can track down what's happened.
He must have binned it somewhere, because as I say, his overall pit lane was 42.6, which is along with everybody else except for John Halliwell and Andy Gorton. John's doing the short stop method as well.
That was probably what it was then, because he just lost the position to Halliwell, which is obviously just a bit.
Oh, James Pinsker has barged his way past Alejandro Portagorvi. That's for on-track position. That puts James at 17th now. Falls in the inside of turn 5. That's a brave man to do that one. Matthias and Sluman swapping around, coming into the bus stop. Parkinson and Kamke doing the same. That's the same point. Blairman is right under the rear wing once again. Lawrenson. Ooh, you had to think about it. Oh, what's happened to John Halliwell? Is going the wrong way. What has happened to you?
That's not a happy-looking BMW.
What's gone on with John Halliwell, the Venom Motorsports BMW?
Oh, he's just lost it.
Ow! Yeah, that's gonna hurt. Oh! Ouch!
Yeah, he took both.
Yeah, he did his crash properly, and he is out. Where has he gone? His name has actually vanished entirely from my list. Yeah, there he is. He's well, he drove himself back to the pit. He didn't have far to go, but I suspect he won't be driving back out of there in a hurry, as that I think is James Boniface. Yeah, that's James Boniface getting out of the way of that pack of 3 that have just stormed past. Very nicely driven. Now I'll ask you two gentlemen, when you're coming up to someone to put an app on them, do you just instinctively trust that they will do it properly? Do you have kind of, oh, okay, I know who that is, they're going to do it properly, or is there just that element of, please do it properly?
When you're gonna be lapped, or when you're gonna?
No, when you're lapping someone.
Well, I've mostly been in the AMs, and we're just getting lapped. But yeah, you're getting a bit nervous sometimes, because usually, in the official races, it means not that skilled drivers, and so it can be a bit tricky. But it's just a bit of the flash of button, and then they normally move away, and you're.
I think in a league like this.
Oh, Covenike! No, sorry, I've commentated to curse someone else without even talking. It was watching Covenike. He just put a great move on Daniele Mamano, and sadly he's gotten too loose coming through the bus stop and bounced off the ball.
Yeah, so I think in a league like this in AOR, you normally expect that people are very well behaved with lapping, because we do have a section in the rules about lapping that you are expected to get out of the way of the leaders, but and drivers are very good at that in this, both in the single-seaters and in the GTE League. Quite often, they may not do it immediately, but they don't have to do it immediately, but just try and do it when it's safe, get out of the way, let the leaders go, and they're very good at it. But as Nick alluded to, when you're in an official race, sometimes the single-seater official races, you tend to get quite good lap cars. They tend to follow the Formula 1 definition of blue flags, which is that they'll just let you through. But in the sports car side of things, you don't always get that, because iRacing itself technically isn't a blue flag, it's a blue and yellow flag, which is a warning that there are faster cars approaching, but it does not mean you have to get out of the way. And so the rule on iRacing, you don't have to get out of the way, it's just nice courtesy if you do.
And there's another one. Sorry, gentlemen, cutting you off. JJ Parkinson. Oh, no, he just lost that one coming through turn 1. Oh, and he's hit the wall trying to recover. What I was actually doing, I was actually on the gearbox camera of Stefan Kamke and just enjoying this big grinning Ford that I've enjoyed for the last few seasons. That big grin on whatever it is that Chris Yardley chooses to put it on. This season it's the Ford. I was just enjoying that, and then suddenly the BMW decided to take an alternate route.
yeah, just to finish off, but sometimes you'll get that, and obviously if you're in a multi-class official race, that's the point where things can just go terribly with lap cars. Sometimes you'll get it. The worst thing that a GTE class car can do to a prototype car is let the prototype through. Which I know sounds pretty weird to say, but it's the last thing you expect them to do, and they'll try and do it, and they'll end up doing it in such an awkward way that you're just like, you completely taken the apex. Like, I was expecting you to take the apex, and I had a plan for that, and now you've given me a different plan.
Yeah.
And we've expect not a lot of higher I-rating GTEs signing up. We've had a lot of the lower I-rating ones, and they do a lot of that, and so I may sound a bit like I have a bit of a grudge against them, but that's because it's just happened very recently to me.
Yeah, no. It has happened that, you know, especially in the turn 5, you know, when you're going in the LMP1, you're almost flat through there, and in the GTs they're braking, and if they wanna, you know, go to the outside, you sometimes are getting, you know, they're braking, you're accelerating, so suddenly you're already faster through that corner. So sometimes you have 50 to 60 kilometers an hour in difference, and suddenly you're just, you know, going through them, and it tends to happen, but yeah, they don't need to move. That's
yeah. You always have the plan in mind of if they just take the normal racing line, and the second, because like you said, you've got sometimes like a 50 kilometer an hour closing speed, and when they don't do the thing you expect them to do, that's just the point where everything you're just like, okay, how do I not hit this car now?
Yeah, I mean, the last thing you want to do when you are closing in at someone at well over 250 kilometers an hour at that kind of rate is throw it. You do not want to be doing that really sharp movement to avoid an incident. When I used to commentate for AOR on the multi-class endurance stuff on PCARs 2, that was always the golden rule given from the LMP drivers to the GTEs. Be predictable. We cannot jump out of the way quickly and safely enough if you suddenly, unless you do it very early and very obvious.
It's more to stick to a line, and it's like if you're gonna very clearly be on the left, be on the left. You're gonna very clearly be on the right, be on the right. If you're very clearly going to take the racing line into the corner, take the racing line into the corner. Don't wander around the outside, because it just goes terrible.
Yeah,
most of the time it just goes terribly.
Yeah, a thing I tended to do when I was racing in the league, as we had Marvin just had a kind of a moment in turn 1. What I tend to do is just, you know, I take my racing line and get, you know, people needs to get quite close to me. I know that Stevie were always talking happily about my way of letting people pass. He wasn't happy about it. But what I then tend to do is, if I am braking either earlier or, you know, moving out of the way, what I tend is just to tap the brake 2 or 3 times. Not, you know, brake, but just so that the rear lights come on, and that is kind of, you know, flashing the rear lights at people.
Yeah. And
then they know, all right, I can just attack because the guy have seen me and he's letting me through.
Actually, what you've just reminded me of is the GT3 cars on iRacing were at the Nordschleife this week.
Ooh.
And I'm a big fan of the Nordschleife, so I was doing a bit of that. I don't tend to go out in the GT cars that often at the moment, but that was one thing that made me sort of get back into them. And there are times when there are faster cars at the Nordschleife that haven't qualified, because the qualifying system for that race is very different. They haven't qualified, and they're much faster than you, and you're like, how do I let this person through? And actually what you've just told me there is actually probably a very good strategy come the 24, if I need to think about it, because there's one of those times where there is pretty much one line around that track, and you're like, how do I let this person through? But slow down enough without them hitting. And so, I might employ that strategy to come
just, you know, do that a couple of times and then just lift off a bit earlier, let them go into the inside, attack, and, you know, really do a bit of a thing of their tires, and you just go a bit slower and earlier in on the braking into the corner, and then you accelerate a bit earlier, and then you can follow them out of the corner.
Oh, we have the grinning Ford has decided to have a go at the wall. He's binned it coming through the bus stop, had a munch on the tyre wall. He didn't hit it too hard, but that has cost Chris Yardley quite a bit of time. He is now down into 30th spot. He wouldn't have caused that much damage, would he? It didn't look like it was a big impact. Oh, Jack Underwreck! Oh, wow! He is in a rock and a hard place there. Oh my goodness me, what on earth happened here? Okay, well that's what happened. So coming through turn 9, has he gone on the grass or has he hit the apex?
Grass.
He's gone on the grass. So he's bounced off the wall and that's left him right in the middle of the track. Oh wow, people going literally left and right of him, and he's picked, well, as good a moment as any to try and get going. Oh wow, that's Merlin Cooper that had to think about trying to go on the inside of him, and I've left my Steam notifications on again. You'd think I'd learned that one by now, but
No.
no.
No, I have. I'm glad that I'm not the guy who's streaming, because I have the same thing. It irritates me.
Oh, there goes James coming past Sourdough. James Pinsky now up to 13th position from starting dead last. Great stuff.
One thing that James and people like, well, this whole midfield battle has reminded me.
Hold that thought. Pano Martins has flown off the road at the bus stop. Now what's going on? Oh, now that's a wounded Jack Underwreck. Oh, but Palo's had his own incident. Locked up going into the bus stop. He's on 17 incident points now. We can't do that again. Sorry, James, carry on.
I was just saying that people like James battling in this midfield, and our normal midfield contenders as well. It's reminded me what it's like when we have like multiple manufacturers battling it out with their different car properties, unlike the BMW Pro class that we basically. And hopefully next season the balance of performance will shift slightly, so we might get a couple of Porsches and some Ferraris and some BMWs and some Fords all fighting together, and we might get a thing where we have different characteristics, meaning different parts of the circuit, meaning really fun battles. And I thought it was just really nice that we had something like that going on today, because like people like James who will be really fast in the high-speed corners, the things like turn 5, turn 6. We've got the ability there, but then you've got the BMWs, which are obviously fan favourites. There are a lot of the corners here, but then the Ferrari, which is very good on the straights and the slow-speed corner, which is very nice.
Martin Koneman is in. I think he pitted early last time. Oh, trouble! Gerd Sommers! Oh no, he's been running so well all race long. Oh, what on earth did he do there? He's coming up to the bus stop.
That looked weird.
Oh, I think that's just a classic Ford plus bus stop at any track. It just does not. It's the same at Daytona. The Ford corners like that, like a bus stop with a lot of direction change, high-speed direction change going on like that, it just gets a bit loose.
Ooh, Pinske has lost the position to 7.
Oh, yep, oh, wow, he got the bus stop wrong, bounced over what looked like an access road, did a bit of a Danny Ricciardo at Australia last season.
You see, Fords and bus stops do not mix.
Nope.
And
actually, James has a bit of rear damage. Did he? He picked that up over the bumps.
Yeah.
So as he's gone over the bumps, there he's now got a bit of rear damage on the rear left.
Oh no!
Will not be helping him. I mean, it'll be minor, but it might be half a kilometre an hour, down the straight, and in a Ford, that's not something you can really afford.
Afford.
Intentional, completely.
We have Andy Gordon in the pit, but he also pitted earlier. Last time.
It was a short stop, yeah. He pitted at the same time, but his was short.
Yeah, short field, yeah.
I'm also watching Holstein. I'm going to risk saying it. He will kill me later if it goes wrong, but he is flying. There is nearly 3 seconds now between himself and Ross Woodford.
And now you have said it, so now I can add on to it, and we will get the blame.
You're going to add to it, so you. Oh, I see. I'm going to be the meat shield in the blame game.
Yeah,
all right, okay.
Exactly. If he wins, he's at the moment 3 points behind Woodford, and at the moment with the they both have a race where they, Woodford has a race that he did not finish, and Holstein has one that he did not start. So the drop weeks without them, they're still, there's no points there.
Yep.
So we will get a title decider.
Oh, lovely. That one's going to go down to the wire.
And Ross, who would be the man behind in this situation, is a massive fan of Road Atlanta.
No
And
pressure
so the
then
man
for Holstein.
behind is the man who loves the. However, as we are aware, Ross has been a driver who likes the Ford a lot. This is the season that he switched to the BMW, but he's driven the Ford a lot before. And so whether his love of Road Atlanta comes from the Ford, or whether it comes from the actual track itself, we will have to find out.
Fair point. Pinsker is catching to the back of Saradov again, but he has picked up a bit of damage which might upset the balance of the car. We will see as we've got less than half an hour to go of this race. It's been difficult for me to keep up with everything, but doing my best to do so. That's why I keep flicking between the various battles going on. Oh, James Boniface is on 18 incident points now. He's got to back off. He can't risk. Well, we could risk being disqualified, I suppose. We're starting to see the next pit stops happening. Gaillard and Voracek have come in now. So that's really going to spice things up somewhat.
I would just say, we actually have the AM leader at the moment in P10 overall.
Yes, we do.
That
Michael Mariani.
And he's just miles ahead of James Smith and Merlin Cooper.
Jamie Smith in second position as Mariani lets Andy Gorton through to turn 6. There is, that is 14 seconds by my maths between Michael Mariani and Jamie Smith, and there's only about 4 or so between Jamie and Merlin. Wow, huge gap. What is it for Pro-Ams? Alfie Lawrenson in 3rd overall still, where he's been all race long. Craig Dancy in 2nd. It's 12 between Lawrenson and Dancy. Dancy hasn't got anyone to slipstream off of, so he's not going to have any help trying to close in on the class lead. And Isaac Morris is another 11 further behind Craig. So the Pro-Am podium battle is quite spread out.
However, as someone, there are people that I've raced for a while now, and Alfie is one of them. In fact, one of my first races with him, he was a direct opposition to me, and I got told that he's a very fast driver, but sometimes he does have a few cracks, and so he just needs to keep it clean. I'm sort of commentating, cursing him, but more as a test to see if he can try and put his bad habits out of his locker and just keep it clean, because Alfie is someone who has been in a situation like this many times, but has just never failed to has always sort of failed to convert it. And I honestly hope, for his sake more than anything, that he can do that wrong right, and he can just put it to bed and actually just secure this one.
I mean, it's not like we've mentioned Alfie much in this race.
Well, no, that's true, and that's good. Really.
All on merit. In
absolute
absolute fairness, I joke, but yeah, he has absolutely earned the airtime he's had, and he's done a brilliant job there. As Holstein continues to turn the laps, and also worth noting, Holstein along with Jamie Smith, I think they're the only ones. Yep, they're the only ones on 0 incident points still. And that could well be crucial for Holstein come the finale.
That is one true thing, and Ross will know this, because Ross, last season's champion sider, was he was very much in the mentality of the instant point, point you get for the championship. And so what that meant was he was very much on the thing of how many instant points does Dom have. How many does he have? And the second that Dom had 1 instant point, he was like, right, if I stay on 0, I can stay here and I win the championship. And he very much has it in his mind. And so he will know that he's lost his instant points, and he'll be hoping Chris could perhaps just slip up a little bit and lose those 3 points.
But then again, last season it was also 3 points for a 0x. This year's only 1 point. So it's not as big. But I will say that Isaac Morris is also on 0.
Where is he? I can't find him. Where is Isaac Morris?
P7?
Indeed he is. I unfairly missed you, Mr. Morris. Apologies for that. And he's running in 3rd. He's a fairly lonely race for a while. Small-bone racing BMW. It's still turning the laps. In third position in class. Still 0 on the counter. And that is... Who's that's coming out the pits? I don't know. Close, but... came out behind Mr. Holstein. So... Wow, now 3.2 seconds between Ross and Holstein. And... Yeah, Ross has picked up another incident. He's on 5 now. Not that he needs to worry about that passe, but it just again shows he really is pushing very hard to try and close that gap down. At the moment, it's not paying off for him. Still, Blair man.
Kamke is in quite a battle.
Stefan Kamke and Victor Matios. No, that's Daniele Mamano, I beg your pardon. I looked the wrong way.
Yeah.
This is 10 seconds between Kamke and Matios. That's under no circumstance can be deemed a battle.
And dear viewer, if you think you might have seen wrong, I will say no. It is a Care Bear that is on that car. On the Bear with Us team, it is Care Bears.
Has someone commented on that?
No, just to
reiterate.
Yeah, because people are like, what is on that car? Because when you just look at the outside, it's like just a bunch of colors. But
yeah.
When you get close, it's like that's a Care Bear.
Yeah, it is, and it is there by design.
Oh, it is.
Rano Luke and Marvin Sleeman are pretty close together. Is Rano going to have a look? No, he's staying very intentionally behind. There's our fellow Hyperion Ferrari. Oh, both Hyperion, aren't they? Yes, they are.
Romano's looking to the outside of the Care Bear Ferrari of Stefan Kamke, but you can't really go around the outside of bus stop, so he just backs out of it.
Wow, that looked close from that camera angle. It might not have been actually as close as I thought it was, but yeah, Mamano ducked behind the Care Bear Ferrari. And they continue in 23rd position. Actually, not that far behind them is Holstein to put a lap on them.
I think the Care Bear Ferrari has a little bit of damage sort of to the left-hand side of the midsection of the sort of the floor, sort of the skirt sort of area. It looks a little bit bent.
Yeah, I do believe that the Kamke has had an argument with the wall. That's an argument you don't really win.
You'll tend to lose.
He's had an argument with something on that left-hand side of his car.
Yeah.
I'm trying
it's a car or we're not entirely sure.
I think we can see it there. Yeah, if we look on the rear right suspension camera, this one, you'll see that the floor is complete. But if we go to the opposite side, there is a square bit missing.
Oh, and he's pitting.
And he's pitting. And I do wonder whether the BMW is going to join him, but no.
Very sensible well from Stefan. Sticks to that entry line that we talked about earlier when we had the pit stop incident, and very clearly signals that I'm coming into the pit to the car behind him.
And Holstein is
Woodford
continuing.
is losing a lot of time.
He is. I've seen
He's
that.
lost 1.7 seconds since the...
well, the last 2 laps. So.
Yeah. No, since the pit stop, but that's a lot in these guys.
They haven't been in for their second stop yet.
No, the first stop, sorry.
Oh, it's in the first one. Yeah, indeed. He lost 4 tenths that last lap around, near enough. So, we'll see if he is able to...
with traffic and lapping, traffic, if Holstein has just been, if he's just a bit more aggressive and faster to get through lap traffic, this is a place where he can really also gain a lot of time. And if he's lucky with the traffic as well, that could be a huge advantage and a skill that is obviously overlooked in sprint racing.
Absolutely. There's Mr. Parkinson, I believe it is in chat, saying his race was going well. But alas, his car is in the pits. It has been for the last 4 minutes. I'm not likely to see him again. A shame. Some of the race ends that way.
Yeah.
Trying to decide on who to watch. I'm wondering when Holstein's going to come in again.
Especially
Yeah.
in Scotland when it got what? Well, when it comes to the end of this lap, we've got less than 20 minutes to go.
Indeed. He won't make it to the end.
No,
No.
there is. I mean, pretty much categorically in a BMW, no chance.
A Ford, maybe.
Ford, you can possibly do a one-stop at some tracks if you commit early enough. But
Yeah,
you
that's
have
the
to,
thing, isn't
First of all,
it?
commit on the first stop. You can't do the second, like.
Yeah, you can't
the
just switch when you feel like it. No.
You have to commit early.
No, indeed. Who should we? Oh, no, we haven't looked at Stephen Broomfield for a while. He's not actually far off the back of Michael Mariani. Not as a particular battle, as they're in two different classes, but we'll give some airtime to somebody else.
Actually, on that one stop. It's just that one track I would like to see, maybe on next season's calendar, if it is so possible, is Interlagos, because it's a very fuel-efficient track, and so there might be the possibility that we could get a one-stop race in.
I think Stevie used to reference someone that did a zero-stop race there.
Yeah. We had one that did a zero-stop race at that track.
And weren't they desperately slow at the end of the race?
Yeah, definitely. I was close to do it, but it was just we lost. It was too bad.
There's Mariani, I think, letting Broomfield go. 11th overall. Mariani will lose very little from doing that. He still leads his class by coming up to 20 seconds, around about 18 seconds now, over Merlin Cooper. So he has had he's only on 3 incident points as well as Mariani. So he's had an absolutely stonking race. And Holstein has still not come in. Again, Ross lost another 4/10 of a second, or 3/10 of a second or so, on Holstein. Now, this could be traffic. Holstein may well have just been luckier in the traffic, but I do wonder whether Ross maybe has a bit of damage on the car. He's got 5 incident points. He may have picked up a bit of floor damage that we can't see or something like that.
Or maybe his setup is a very fast setup come the start of the race, but takes a lot out of the tyre.
Could well be. And Luke and Marvin Sluman, the Hyperion pair, still having their battle for 19th overall. Where are they in the Pro-Ams? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That is 10th, I think, if I've counted that correctly. In the Pro-Ams, there's Paolo Martins just going out the shot, about 3 seconds up the road. And it would be Marvin's next target if he can shake Rano Luke loose. Matios isn't all that far off the back of them in the Hyperion Ford. But where is Holstein? Holstein's not too far off the back of them to put a lap on them either.
I think within the next 3 laps, so we will see a pit stop.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought so.
It normally is. It's normally just a splash here at the end. So I think we will see that.
Well, Holstein pitted on lap 19 last time around, and now we're on lap 38, and he does
counts.
Within the 3 laps.
And Ross is in right behind him. So we will see. It was about 4 seconds, or 4.1 as it is now, but we'll see what the gap is post pit stop. John Halliwell after his
continues.
Indeed. John Halliwell, who had that massive incident bouncing off of 2 walls, has been in there for nearly 27 minutes, so he's probably going to sit the rest of the race out. But Michael Toman, bear in mind he was in the pits really early on for a very long time. He's had his second stop. You can see the rearranged rear wing on the 391 Hyperion Porsche. But he is still carrying on. He did his second pit stop about 6 laps ago, so he shouldn't need to revisit the pits again.
Ross has lost more time to Holstein in the pits, not as much as he did last time around, but he's even further behind.
Blair Man is really getting closer to Alfie Lawrenson.
Alfie Lawrenson in the Pro-Ams is leading the race.
Exactly. That's incredible.
And all on merit too.
Yeah, that is their double level of commitment, this one.
Ross has added another incident point to his tally. He's on 6 now. Blair Man is taking a bit of an alternate line there around turn 7.
Ross might actually be in the position where he is you know, maybe conceive the fight a bit here and be like,
That is not his way.
no, it's not.
No,
but
that is not Ross's way
but
at
it
all.
might be.
As we kind of got to the point of memeing the amount of spins he performs, he does not switch off at any point. And if he does switch off, that's what causes him to spin. So, yeah, he needs to be on it for Ross's sake more than anything.
Absolutely. And Alfie and Blair have both come in.
That was a late dive from Alfie.
Yeah.
Close to hit that wall.
Believe me, you do not want to hit that wall at all. It does hurt.
I've gone back in the replay a little bit far. I'll take your word for that one. Oh, there's King-Kodiak. He's been through the pits recently as well. So, Christoph Holstein takes over the lead of the race again. Now 4.5 seconds to the good. He gained another half second from Ross. I mean, Ross may well uncharacteristically view this conceding, but I think he's probably just realistically thinking, I'm not likely to roll that back in. And look at that, Alfie and Blair once again. Are they attached with a chain or something?
I think so.
Is Alfie actually towing Blair?
I think Blair's going for
Oh, there we go.
Blair wants his overall podium, not just Pro-Am podium.
Oh, yeah.
But Lawrenson wants the overall podium.
Well, I mean, oh no! Impact between the two, and Alfie really should have got out of that.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to cost him, because there goes Gert Sommers, who now leads the Pro-Am category. Oh, Sam Blackwood's had a problem as well, I think. Oh, no, he's in the pits. Never mind.
Does Gert win it, but lead it only on the Ford fuel, though? That's a good thing.
That's a fair point, because he has not been back through the pits.
I don't think he has pitted.
No, he hasn't pitted for a second time, so... No, I mean, that's cut the lead down to 4.6 seconds between Alfie and Craig, who's just wandered off the road. Craig Dancy's has wandered off the road at turn 6, so he's kept it out of the wall.
He's got all excited at the sight of the leader, and then has just put it off the road himself. But I was actually just looking through the pit lane, and it was actually quite nice, because when we're at a track like this, you actually get the pit crew just beyond the pit wall. And I thought it was quite nice to see some of the suits that we had on display. We had a lot of high-vis jacket men, funnily enough. I don't know what team that could be at all. As they were going through the pit lane. But yeah, I thought it was something we don't really tend to see. Because quite often they're behind proper pit walls with their computers and whatever in iRacing. But when we come to tracks like this, we have the pit wall and we get to see these kind of things.
And Gert comes into the pits, led the category for a little while. Lawrenson continues on his way. Remains in the lead of the Pro-Ams. He will not have lost out as far as his own class are concerned.
Oh, Gert finished his pit box.
I saw that, yeah. I didn't see it on stream, but I did see his speed go to minus because he won't thank us for highlighting that. There's several of the Fords have come in now. The last of, basically the last of the pit stoppers come in. That's everybody on at least 2 stops now. James Boniface has actually been through the pits 3 times.
Holstein is like miles ahead in front.
He's made 5 seconds now. But that's the thing, I mean, and he's passed someone. That is Philippe Gaillard. He's just gone past.
Sluman and Renault Luke going side by side into the penultimate corner. Ooh. Come on, guys. Behave.
Yeah, Renault backed out of that, and that's the rather rearranged Ferrari of Jack Anderek.
Yeah.
He has been through the pits since the damage was caused, I believe. I'm sure he has. Yes, he did. He limped back to the pits as soon as he did it. I thought he was wandering too far off the road there. But... So now Marvin and Renault have got a guest to their party from Jack Anderek. And if Jack holds them up too much, they'll have Victor Masios joining them as well. So that battle in the final 10 minutes could get very, very interesting.
We have the Jack Hendrick, Marvin, Sluman battle, and Sluman goes to the front of the train.
Indeed. Either Jack had nothing to fight with or just decided to let Marvin go. We will see. Victor is closing in on them, and not too far off the back of them is actually Martin Kodeman in the diesel race team Ferrari.
It has been a good last half season for Kodeman. He's been leading the AM Championship for quite a while, and now he's down to P3, and he's just going further and further down now.
A great shame. Another half-second lost for Ross Woodford. Now 5.5 seconds is near enough between himself and Christoph Holstein. So Christoph really has had. Is he just a veteran here? Does he prefer this track, or has just everything fallen into place for him?
Holstein. Holstein, I think he's just very good on a lot of tracks, but he has also been driving this league for
A long
ever.
time.
Yeah. I think he's been in here every season since it kind of got revived in season 3. So he has been here a lot, and he is in every season he has either won a championship or been one of the top guys in it. So I'm not surprised by this level of speed from him, to be honest.
Alfie Lawrenson is gaining on Andy Gorton. There's less than a second between our Pro-Am leader and 5th place Tag Racing UK Ferrari of Andy. So
And Andy Gordon has also lost a very, very important fight that we tend to look over here. The P1 of the non-BMW.
Oh, someone's had a massive incident. Someone's had a huge incident. That is Daniele Mamano.
And
Cohen. Oh, wow. Let's go back a little bit further. So that's Daniele on the outside. Oh, he just comes back to the racing line too quickly. Whilst the Ferrari's still there, clips the nose of Cohen. And
there was a slight bit of desync netcode involved, but at the same time, yeah, he was just cutting.
Oh, no.
There.
JJ Parkinson, after having been in the pits for over 11 minutes, has also had an incident.
Yeah, he did write in the chat that he wanted to go out there and try and finish the race.
Yeah, he clipped the apex at turn 9, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh dear. And Victor Mantios has now caught the back of Rano Luke, who's stuck behind Jack Anderek, and Marvin Sluman has run off into the distance, well, comparatively speaking, about 1.3 seconds. So that battle is really hotting up there. Oh, there goes Rano Luke on the outside of Jack Anderek. Oh, is Victor going to try and... No. I thought Victor was going to try and have a crack at Jack as well. Behind them, Martin Kodeman. That's our race leader that's just come past him. So Christoph Holstein. Oh, this could be interesting for Holstein. We're in the last 5.5 minutes now. And that's what Holstein's got to deal with. A warring pack of Rano Luke, Jack Anderek and Victor Matios. That is not what he wanted. Yes, he has 6.2 seconds back to Ross Woodford, which he'll be well aware of. The last thing he wants to be is involved in someone else's battle.
Oh, he's gonna flash those guys like, his life depending on him. Yeah. And it's like, Holstein has kind of gained that Schumacher status in here sometimes. When you see that blue-green color in the mirrors, you just
get out of the way.
So you can see.
Here's Jack did.
Just get out of the way because he's normally always in a fighting position.
But now also the people that are getting lapped. Well, we're really hoping that the people in front of Holstein then also get lapped, because we're getting towards the end of the race here, and you're talking about the people that Holstein does lap won't go past the checkered flag. Drops, whereas the people in front of Chris will have the extra lap to go on, and so there won't be the opportunity to overtake because you won't be on the same lap.
True.
So people behind now need Holstein to get a move on, really, and start lapping people faster.
I had a race at Spa one of the seasons, 2 seasons ago, I think, where I actually had to lift off and wait for the leaders to pass me because I didn't have fuel enough to get another lap.
I
I
gotta
had that
remember
at Spa
that.
as well. I had that at Spa as well in an official where someone was so quick that they managed to do an extra lap to what I was like used to in the official racing. Because you suddenly get used to it. It's like it's a 31 lap race or whatever. You know it's going to be that, and then it gets cold enough that they can just go a bit quicker, and they go, yeah, it's now 32 lap race. And you're like, oh, I didn't feel for a 32 lap race.
No.
And then me and this other person both had the same thing, and it was like, who could get lapped easiest?
Yeah.
But also like not run out of fuel and also not get overtaken, and it was a very weird race.
Yeah. but I was so lucky that the guys were like 2 seconds behind me, so it wasn't that bad. But it was more like had to do it, otherwise I wouldn't have completed the race.
That's literally the half the field, or half of our starting field, I should say, lap as soon as Holstein comes past Marvin, which he's just doing now. That's half the field a lap down. Such has been the outstanding pace of Christoph Holstein. And Ross is there, right behind this entire pack. So I think it's fair to say 2.5 minutes remaining of the race. What, we've got 3 laps to go.
Yeah.
And Holstein 6.3 seconds. I think even Ross might have to concede. But he's still going to... Well, by conceding, it just means he goes from 110% down to maybe 99.8 in the hope that someone bins it or takes Christoph off or something like that.
Do you think he's going beneath 100%?
Well, even he might have to concede this one.
I think you are maybe being a bit optimistic there. He might be going to 100.1%.
Maybe.
But beneath
But
it.
no lower.
No, I don't think so.
What is this slanderous lie that I am portraying?
Yeah, exactly.
This pack still together, which is Victor Matios, Jack Anderek, and now Martin Kodeman. Well, I say this pack still together. There's been a pack here. That, I think, is actually Ross Woodford right behind him. It is indeed. It's just had different people in it. We always have had that pack around that particular point. This is where Marvin Sleeman and Rano Luke were, and then Jack Anderek got involved, and essentially is with the damage that he's still got on his car, has really shuffled around the grid. Now James Boniface has actually gone to 21 incident points, and Mr. Parkinson has recovered his car back to the pits, so his return to the track not gone particularly well, as we are a minute away, just over a minute away from the checkered flag to fall. So this will be the final lap, unless we get conned like we did last week.
I don't think it's as close this week.
No.
I think it's a bit strange to get round this lap in a minute, whereas Ross just sort of got round in enough time that it tricked the game into thinking that for some reason he could get round in enough time, because he crossed the line on the penultimate lap, having done over an hour 20 minutes of racing. But the way iRacing system worked, it went nope, you still got to do the extra lap on top of it.
Oh, Rano Luke and Marvin Sleeman are back together again, and now they've got Paolo Martins in the Phoenix Motorsport Ferrari right ahead of them. So there's a great Ferrari fest going on here. This is for 20th position overall. I think it's 10th or so in the Pro-Ams as Paolo's gone wide.
And they will know it's the final lap. They will see on their screens that it's the white flag. Paolo has no rear grip whatsoever.
Oh, wow, yeah, that... I've seen him several times get very, very loose. He's going to be nailed by Rano as well. Marvin's gone through. Rano, Luke, still side by side. Martin's trying to defend on the inside of turn 8. He's going to have nothing come the next turn.
You can't go around the outside of here. It's an off-camber corner. He'll just wash out there.
Yeah.
He's had to concede that one, but...
he's angry as well. He's weaving around the place.
That's not going to help him, but... Checker flag is out, awaiting this man. I'm just going to wait before I say it. There we go. Your winner here in Watkins Glen is the 109 Comrade Gaming BMW of Christoph Holstein. 9.2 seconds in the end. Well, it's reduced because Christoph slowed down, but wow. Oh, 9.4 is what it was in the end, indeed. I beg your pardon, between himself and Ross. Blair Mann is going to take, or has already taken, third position. There he is. Rainer Talvar 4. Andy Gorton's going to take 5. Alfie Lawrenson is going to be the Pro-Am winner. There he is. Nicely done. So Craig Dancy will take second. And the Pro-Am's Isaac Morris for Smallbone Racing. The BMW being chased home by Gert Zommers. And that's the rearranged Porsche there of, I can't remember who that is. It's Mikael Toman. Come over the line, there they come. And the AM winner. And there is the last of the top three of the Pro-Ams. There is Michael Mariani, who has led from lights to flag for the AM class. And still leads by 16 seconds. As he's been chased home by Sam Blackwood and Alejandro Portagovi. Well, that's Sam. Actually, that's Sam directly behind. There is someone in between them. I'm not sure who that is. Boniface? Yes, must be James Boniface. And yes, that was the additional BMW in that particular lineup. Merlin Cooper, there he is. He's going to take second. Chased home by Jamie Smith. And Jamie retained his 0 incident points, as did Christoph Holstein. Wow,
and
what?
Isaac Morris.
And Isaac Morris, yes.
You forgot him again.
I didn't forget him, but I honest. Yeah. I do not believe it. How dare you? Oh, what a race, gentlemen. What a race this has been.
I think that's the way to sum it up, really. Just what a race. Lots of action, lots of chaos, especially in the mid-race.
Oh, definitely. And you know, a King-Kodiak commentator cursed for the entire field.
That's a record even for me.
Yeah.
So then, before any steward's intervention, this is how the results currently stand. Christoph Holstein taking a very commanding win from Ross Woodford. Then it is Mann, Talvar, Gorton, Lawrenson, Dancy, Morris, Zommers, Edens, Pinsker, Dove, Brumfield, Mariani, Blackwood, Pontegorvi, Cooper, Smith, Voracek, Sluman, Luke, Martins, Matthias, Anderek, Kodeman, Guyard, Kamke, Van Eyck, Mamano, Lodato, Moda, Boniface, Toman, Parkinson. Those that didn't see the checkered flag were Yardley, Hallowell, Linholt, Sanders, Moraine, Nadelik, Van Putten, and Hooper. Oh, there's a few people going through the alternate route there, as we see on this scenic camera. Wow. My throat is ruined, but what a way for it to go. Is anyone wanting to have a chat to us? Yes! We have several people wanting to have a chat to us. Whilst I grab the interview music, who should we have a chat with first, gentlemen?
Well, I think probably best to talk to our race winner.
I think it's only fair. Let's have a chat to Christoph Holstein.
Hello, guys.
Holy moly, welcome to the show. Where on earth did that come from?
It's Watkins Glen, baby, I think.
Wow, what a performance. I mean, in the initial phase, from race start, it looked like you had your work cut out, and then you then decided to turn everything up to 11.
It was very hard to judge really how the pace was in the first stint, because obviously you don't really know how good your pace is in the slipstream when it's relatively easy to follow on this track. So I wasn't really sure how good my pace really was. And but I wanted to be in front coming into the pit stops, and Ross let me. And then I think he overshot or undershot his pit box or something, and that gave me the 2 seconds. And then I was like, okay, this is probably your only chance you will get today, so you have to floor it right now. And the pace was good enough, I guess.
Oh yeah, wasn't it just? So is it a case of you're more of a Watkins specialist, or does everything fall into place?
I would say both. This is definitely a track which I always perform well at, not necessarily over one lap, but over a race. I mean, I remember being here 2 seasons ago, and I absolutely shot the gun there in the second stint too. So it's definitely, I don't know, it's definitely a combination of a lot of things, I would say. But yeah, I don't think I could have done much better today, really, especially also getting 0 incident points. That was also something which could be crucial still at the end of the day.
Was that something on the agenda, or were you intentionally aiming to keep the instant point down, or was that just a happy bonus?
That's always my aim, really, to keep the incident points down. Sometimes it works quite well, sometimes it doesn't. I think it worked quite well last week too, but not to an extent to get bonus points. But here it is a little bit easier, I think, than on most other tracks. So yeah, that's definitely something I always keep an eye on too, if I can. If the pace allows it, I guess.
So 1 race to go, title all up for grabs. How confident are you?
Well, I've been here or thereabout all season long. I've been super, super consistent, and I'll try to continue that. Road Atlanta is interesting. Let's put it that way. But we shall see, I guess. Every week is a new day, I guess. Well, we're going into a race every single time that we don't know really what's going to happen. So I don't know. Maybe we'll see Ross jumping ahead 20 seconds again ahead of the field, or it will be close again, like it was today in the first instance. So we shall see, I guess.
Any questions, gentlemen?
Yeah, how do you actually feel about that? To get that championship, you just need to be ahead of Ross Woodford. How is that?
That's very easy, mate. That's
exactly.
the easiest task of my life, really. So easy. Never done it before. No, it's always so difficult. And I didn't really know where I was standing. And after qualifying today, I was like, oh my god, here we go again. And well, it turned out differently today. That's why I just go into next week, try to do my best, and then we will see, I guess.
Yeah.
Any questions, James?
Nope, just well done and good luck for the championship decider.
Thank you very much, guys.
Absolutely, thank you very much, Christoph Holstein.
Bye-bye.
Right, we have a wide range of people wanting to have a chat to us. Who should we have next, gents? Nick, you choose one.
What about Alfie? He had a great race.
Didn't he just? Let's have a chat too. Alfie Lawrenson.
Hello.
Our Pro-Am winner. Well. You were wanting that podium overall, weren't you?
Yeah, I really was. Yeah, I felt in qualifying didn't do as best as I could. I didn't think my lap would actually put me that high, so I was happy with that, and I managed to keep intact with Chris for the first few laps, but then obviously he's a title contender, so I don't expect to be keeping up with him, so he eventually pulled away and separated from me and Blair. And yeah, I just kind of kept like that for the rest of the race. Of course, Gorton, he underfueled in the first round stop, so he came out ahead, and that allowed me to save some fuel. So yeah, then the contact was made in the first bus stop out of the pits, which was annoying, but Blair's apologised, and yeah.
I mean, was it a conscious effort to keep Blair behind you the whole race long, or again?
I really wanted the overall podium. I really wanted it, yeah. And yeah, I looked at the replay, and technically it was desync or netcode, but he was going to hit me eventually if netcode didn't happen there. So yeah, it's annoying, but there's nothing I could really do about it. There's not much more I could really done with my car and the bus stop. Of course, on worn tyres it won't turn as much, so, and on the inside line, so it's the most I could do to give him space, but yeah, couldn't do much.
Any questions, gents?
Just on that contact in the bus stop, what was sort of going through your mind at that point? Because I know you had quite a big gap, Craig, but was there any sort of point in your mind where you thought that you might be headed towards a wall, or something might happen to cost you the win? Because the race was looking so good at that time.
I've had a lot of those incidents in the IMSAs this week, and I knew I wasn't going to hit any wall. I knew my car going sideways would just slow me down enough. I was kind of hoping it would have snapped back, in the right direction, but it didn't, so I had to turn around. That lost me P5 overall, but yeah, still to be able to get the Pro-Am win after that, it's really good, and I'm happy with it.
Nick, any from you?
Well, with that kind of performance, are you, afraid that you're gonna be put into pro, or are you wanting to maybe get a bit more of a challenge?
I mean, there is one race left of the season, so I highly doubt that would happen. But yeah, I would like to see how I would fare in pro. I think I could be able to do well at some tracks. Some tracks I'm just tragic at, like the Mom, where I wouldn't be able to stand a chance against the guys. But yeah, I'll see how I do if I get into pro next season. I don't know. My ratings be going up, so hopefully it keeps going up and can get pro.
Awesome stuff. I wish you the best for that and for the remainder of the season. Thank you very much, Alfie Lawrenson. Who should we have next? Let's have.
We need Pinsker because we need to find
definitely need the last to top 10 champion, James Pinsker.
Yeah, hello.
What the hell happened to you at the start?
Well, so I qualified 7th, which, you know, like I did very little practice for this race. That was a massive surprise. I was feeling really uncomfortable at this track. So to be 7th, I must have been a bit overexcited because when I was loading my setup, I was messing around with a few things, and then I was a few seconds late. So yeah, I had to start from the pits. So I was 40. I was 42nd at the end of lap 1. Then it was really solid from there, actually. I think I hope I entertained the stream a bit. I had quite a few overtakes in there.
Yeah, I was trying to keep up with you. There was a lot going on, so it was quite difficult to keep up with you. Well, you kept sort of, trying to keep an eye on you because you were essentially doing like a last to attempted first kind of challenge because you wanted to make your race even more difficult.
Yeah, obviously. Obviously, it was on purpose because I know it's my 250th race in AOR. Gotta make it exciting somehow. And I mean, I guess it was exciting that like I gained 31 positions. So I feel like if I had gridded, I could have been, I don't know, like 8th for sure. Maybe a few places better than that. Maybe even a top 5. I don't know. I think my pace was pretty good towards the end. But yeah, I think I'm happy overall. It was a fun race, and we extended our constructors or teams championship lead, which is good as well going into the last race.
And what about next week's grand finale at Road Atlanta?
Ooh, I'm not sure how much I like driving that track. It's not been my best in the past, but it's good for the Ford, so I don't know. I'll give it a good go. Hopefully try and end the season with the top 5 maybe. Sounds like good fun. And I'll try and help Rainer and I win the team's championship. That's definitely an important thing. That'd be very cool if we could do that. So looking forward.
Awesome. Any questions, gents?
More of a congratulations, but well done on managing to qualify 7th, finish 7th in class in your 250th start, because I know that's something where you like to be a lot.
Yeah, I'm a pretty notorious 7th place merchant, so I finished 7th all the time, so it was pretty fitting, I guess, that I managed to, even starting 42nd in the end, I managed to go up to 7th somehow.
Nice job indeed. Anything, Nick?
No, just congratulations and thanks for an exciting race through the field.
Indeed. Great stuff, well done, and good luck for the remaining race. James Pinsker. Who next? James.
Shall we have a look? Have a talk to our other Ford driver of Sarah Dove.
I think that is fair to say. Let us bring you to the box. Sarah Dove.
Hello.
Hello, Sarah. Well, talk us through the race from your perspective. We saw you involved in a half spin, I think it was, turn 6 relatively early on, and then I didn't see a lot of you, but you were always around someone.
Yeah, I qualified the best the whole season, which isn't really saying much, because this whole season I haven't qualified in the top 25, so 13th was pretty good. But then just kind of driving everybody all over the place because it's that one. And then on turn 2, I almost spun coming into the boot section, which lost me a lot of time and a lot of positions and overheated my tires. So I spent the whole rest of the race just sitting behind people and fuel saving.
Now we must confess we did malalign you with an incident at I can't remember what stage it was, but we thought it was you that ploughed into the back of someone. It wasn't you at all, so we wholeheartedly apologise for that. So, was that the sort of rough plan coming into Watkins Glen, or is it just a case of taking the race as it came?
I just wanted to finish the race because this season has been the worst season ever for me.
Is that due to sort of balance of power, or was it just not been a season for you? I mean, we all have them.
Well, it's partly that, but I can't convince myself that that's the whole reason. Like, the Ford isn't as good as the BMW overall, so I can put a little bit of blame there, but a lot of it is I just haven't been able to drive properly for some reason. I don't know why.
We all have off seasons, I think it's fair to say. Even the greats can make mistakes. Any questions from you, gentlemen?
You go, Nick.
Okay. Well, first of all, Sarah, you got P5 in class, but with your history on the next track, I have an expectation of a overall podium for you. Can you deliver on that one?
Going on this season's form, no. I'm hoping for a class podium, but
okay, yeah.
It's definitely not going to be a couple of seasons ago where I came second and won the class by 45 seconds. I'm not that good.
You're too hard on yourself there, Miss Dove. Anything with you, James?
No, Nick stole basically what I wanted to say, but so no, just good luck and hopefully the Ford treats you better at Road Atlanta, because I've had a couple of Ford drivers telling me how they've not really enjoyed it this season, but hopefully it'll be better.
Yeah, it's the kind of the bop's not great, and I'm just not super confident. So hopefully, I just want to finish, and if I can finish as good as I have 4, then that would be a big plus.
We wish you the best of luck for the remaining round, and indeed, will you be coming back to us next season?
Probably.
Awesome.
Probably in the Ford again, because
you've been loyal to the Ford for a long time now.
Yeah, I don't like driving the Ferrari, and the Porsche is kind of and it hurts my ears. And I don't have the BMW, so I have to go for it.
I see. Well, best of luck, and thank you for talking to us, Saradav.
Thank you.
I think we need to have a chat with Mr. Kamke. Let's grab over.
As always.
Stefan Kamke. Yay, we get to interrupt the conversation. Hello, Stefan.
Good evening.
How are you?
Come back after 2 weeks of not driving, I think, considering that was okay.
Oh, what a rather baptism by fire. It's not exactly the easiest track to jump back into.
But it's one of my favorites.
So talk us through this race from your perspective. What befell you? We didn't see a great deal of you, admittedly. So what was the race like from your perspective?
Qualifying, I completely fucked that up. So I just got a banker lap in, but I suck at qualifying anyway, so never mind. The first couple of laps, everybody I think was scared of a big one in turn 1, turn 2. So luckily people were very conscious about where they put their car, and I've seen some super awesome 4 wide action in sector 1, which was a bit scary. So settling in and just trying to get the laps in and benefit from people making mistakes. And then it was just a lot of defending against Beamers, which had such a dramatic top speed advantage. I think I've never gone this often too wide into the bus stop and lift. It was really hard and really fun.
Awesome stuff. Any questions from you, gentlemen?
No, I think that's a no, but I just well done on giving us some good entertainment, because there was a couple of times, like you mentioned, with the bus stop, and good job surviving it, as you said, because I for one sure know that it's not an easy corner to survive.
No, but this is an absolute testament to the quality of drivers in the league and the respect everybody has for one another. So when they're side by side or a bit of an overlap, people always leave one another space and have good awareness where the other cars are. So this really is testament to the quality of the league and the drive.
Excellent stuff. Well, thank you very much, Stefan. Dankeschön, sir. And we will see you next time around. Thank you very much, Stefan Kamke.
Thank you.
And I do believe the last person we have that's been very patiently waiting is one Sam Blackwood.
King-Kodiak.
Hello to you, sir. Very patiently waiting in the wings. I can't record if we have spoken before, but welcome to the commentary box. How was this race for you, sir?
Best one of the season so far.
Excellent stuff. Talk us through it from your side.
Started way down in P33. Need to get my qualifying sorted out. I can't be starting down that low, especially being in Pro-Am. Caught quite a lot of people napping at the start and gained 9 positions in the first 3 laps.
Nice.
Worked my way through with Jack and got a top 15 out of it. Can't argue with that.
Bravo. Was this a race you were looking forward to coming into it?
No, to be honest, because the last time I was at Watkins Glen, I didn't make it past turn 1, so I was dreading this race. But swings and roundabouts, I'm hoping for the same at Road Atlanta.
That was going to be the next question, which you've already answered. Were you looking forward to that one? Any questions from you two gentlemen?
No, how are you feeling it going into to Pro-Am? How are you feeling driving against those drivers compared to you have been in the AM before?
Yeah, I was in AM class last time I did this series. It's definitely more of a challenge. I'm not finishing up at the top anymore. Definitely having to work harder. My neck is very stiff after that race. So I'm going to sit in the bath for an hour or so. Yeah, it's definitely more of a challenge. And I look forward to challenges, so bring it on.
Awesome stuff. Good luck for the remaining race, and we look forward to chatting to you again in the coming seasons, I have no doubt. Thank you very much, Sam Blackwood.
Thank you.
And that is going to be it for this evening. Thank you very much to those that have been with us throughout the stream. A great pleasure to have you on board. Thank you very much to James and to Nick for keeping me on the straight and narrow, which is a difficult task in itself. It's always a great pleasure to have you in the box with me, good sirs. Thank you kindly.
It was good fun.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you very much to our sponsors. Without you guys, AOR would not continue to grow. And we will be back next week for the grand finale at Road Atlanta. But there's plenty of other racing going on in between then and now. So do check back with us then. Until then, thank you very much and good night.